Jared Jones. Where did this come from? Like, obviously it's a guy that was, I think, expected to be here maybe at some point this year, but not a guy that's getting the buzz I think that he is getting right now. And you mentioned it was kind of an unexpected sort of rise for him. What has led to it from a pitching standpoint? What's allowed Jared Jones to make this leap and make the opening day team?
I mean, he's always had stuff. I mean, that was what got him drafted in the second round in 2020. It's what made him a top 100 prospect, but we're seeing him channel that a little better, how he's able to handle bad situations, how he's able to tiptoe, and get better control whenever he doesn't have it. Or even that last spring training start where he walks, I believe, 4 batters over 5 innings, but he's able to regroup himself out of the stretch and get double plays and get out of those jams. So it was a lot of maturity going through, and I'm going to give a little love to Henry Davis here because those two have a great relationship stepping back from last year, whenever they were at Altoona. Henry loves, whatever Jones pitches to him because it's the easiest mound visit. He just has to get him angry and he's back on track. So there's a lot to go there. So for all is Henry Davis a major league catcher talk that we had to endure this spring? I'm going to give a lot of props to Henry there because he definitely was someone who helped facilitate this rapid growth for Jones.
Well, let's stay there. How has that development gone for Henry Davis? And I mean, are they comfortable at this point? And I emphasize that word because, look, you can put a guy in there, right, and you're just putting him in there. But are they comfortable where they are right now with Henry Davis being penciled in with that 2 next to his name, playing catcher day in and day out? Like, are they ready for him? And is he ready to embrace that role as the everyday catcher at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's every day because Yasmani Grandal was brought in to get a large portion of the reps behind the plate. He's on the IL, so it makes it a little simpler decision-wise right now. But they do have a lot of confidence in Henry Davis, and he had to earn it. I mean, he caught 2 innings last year because they didn't feel he was really ready in those first couple months to be a big league catcher. But he spent a lot of time this winter with Jordan Comedina and Mike Rebello, really honed in on his craft, figured out what he should be doing. He has grown exponentially as a catcher. I don't want to give the impression that the guy that we're seeing behind the plate is what they said, in June and July last year, couldn't catch. No, this guy has grown at his position, at his craft. Pirates feel a lot better with him behind the plate right now.
Alex, I would go and venture to say, and you've kind of alluded to it, they still need another arm, right? I mean, are they trying, if you look at the prospect list, 6 of their top 7 prospects, according to MLB.com, are pitchers. Are they in the camp right now where they're saying, hey, maybe we can tread water, some of these guys like a Skeens or so on come up and help us? Or do they need to maybe go get a little bit more aggressive right now and go find another starting arm for this rotation?
I don't think they have many options left to be aggressive. Yeah. I mean, they've got Eric Lauer and Domingo Germán, who are going to start the year in the minors. Both of them have had some major league success. Whenever they fully stretch out, they could be potential options. Paul Skeens is the big one here. Just waiting what happens with him. You're going to get JT Brubaker and Mike Burrows back at some point in about July. But it's just kind of the first month and a half, 2 months, I feel like are kind of the awkward portion of this year because Skeens is going to have to fully stretch out. He's going to have to prove that he can pitch on a pro ball schedule. But whenever he does that, I feel like that's kind of this rotation at its potential, especially with Jared Jones and that mix too. But right now it is kind of an awkward spot because I don't think anyone feels all that good. I mean, fan-wise, all that good about what Bailey Falter did this spring. But if they want to deploy Luis Ortiz differently, they really don't have many other options at the moment.
Alex, as I read box scores and listened to games here and watched some games, it felt like the Pirates were hitting a lot of home runs. And then, as it turns out, they have hit more home runs than any team in spring training. How, I guess, maybe a little weird of a question, but how transferable can that be, or do they think that will be to the regular season? Spring training, as we've seen in other sports, training camps, things like that, it's not exactly what you always get when the actual games, or the games start to actually matter, but are they pretty excited about how they're hitting the ball right now out of the ballpark? Because it seems like they're doing it pretty often.
They downplayed it this spring. And, yeah, spring training home runs can get a little wonky because of wind. You can face a pitcher who's really emphasizing one pitch that day and, you can sit on something a little more. So it's not exactly a one-to-one translation. That said, those are still good swings to get those home runs. And they took a lot of good swings this spring. I don't think this team is going to lead the league or, in home runs or anything like that. But I look through this lineup, and if you add O'Neal Cruz and Henry Davis, and if Rowdy Tellez could be that 2022 form, I think this team has, someone who could hit double-digit homers at every position, if not more. So I think this could quietly be a little bit of a strength that more people are sleeping on right now. Like, I again, not leading the league in home runs, but I could see this team being up there for the league.